Hey guys, it's Tiggy Maximus with Tiggy Maximus Talks, episode 211 on Spotify and YouTube. Well, it has been a little while, guys. It might have been 3 weeks since I last talked to you guys. On this episode, I'll be talking about the Chargers and what happened to them lately. Played the Ravens in week 12. They played the Falcons week 13, the Chiefs week 14, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers week 15. So, guess what happened about all those 4 games? So, Chargers get to play the Baltimore Ravens on Monday Night Football, and this is in SoFi Stadium in LA. This is supposed to be the what I guess you would call, the coming out party. The This is the showcase to show how good the Chargers are, and lo and behold, the Chargers were, I believe they were ahead 10-0 against the Ravens, and well, you got superstars on the Ravens. You got Derrick Henry, a very, very unstoppable running back, most times than not. You got Lamar Jackson, who is in the running for MVP of the NFL. And, you know, Lamar Jackson does have some weapons on offense. He easily can hand the ball off to Derrick Henry. Of course, sometimes he will just run himself, but he does have an arm sometimes. Before, he wasn't really known for passing because he likes to run, because if he can't find that particular guy, um, he will run, but sometimes might pass to some of his receivers. He does like 2 of his tight ends. He does have Mark Andrews. He he's been good for most years since he's been in the NFL. And he's had some injuries probably last year and maybe a year before that, and then maybe had some this season to start off, but he's really coming into his own again. He does have a backup. Um, I think his name is um, Likely, but I've seen more of Andrews than anyone else. And of course, Lamar can pass to Zay Flowers, who I believe is in his second year in the NFL, and he, you know, he is going to be pretty much the best receiver the Ravens going to have. I believe there's a Rashad Bateman on the team, so the Ravens do have quite a few weapons. It's just trying to figure out how to get it all to click at the same time. Right now, you could almost say that the Ravens secondary or defense is probably the worst in the league, but in most cases, the Ravens can score. And sometimes, if you outscore whatever the defense gives up, you know, you should be in good shape. But if you don't score again, and you go a while without scoring, and the defense is giving up points, it will look like what happened when the Ravens lost to the Browns and the Raiders. And, well, that was unfortunate, but that's what happens when your defense gets exposed. And it's weird because most years the Ravens' defense has been pretty much at least average, if not above average, for most years. But this time, They're not one of the best. Now, granted, um, they do have guys that will pressure the quarterback, but a lot of times by that point, if they focus on stopping those 4, 5 big guys trying to get through, and the time it takes, pass plays can still happen before those big guys get through to the quarterback, and it would seem that most teams can figure out that yeah, you can pass on the Ravens. So the Ravens, Chargers, they probably are, a really good game, and it was kind of close for a little while, but the Ravens ended up shooting ahead of the Chargers, and Derrick Henry pretty much wore down the Chargers' run defense, and apparently once the Ravens kind of really studied hard, and of course now the Chargers can't stop the pass either. And Lamar Jackson pretty much showing us why he should be MVP. Passing to Zay Flowers, passing to Mark Andrews, pass to Lightly, pass to Rashad Bateman, I think that's what his name is, or Rashad Perryman. Either, one of them is right. Anywho, Chargers realizing that, oh no, the 10-0 lead they had to start the game against the Ravens, now it's 10-7. Now it's 14-10. Taking the lead. Chargers come back with a field goal, 14-13. Ravens go up 17-13. Then Chargers, I think they finished the first half losing only 17-16. Unfortunately, the Ravens pretty much had some big plays, especially pass plays, run plays. And apparently there's a guy by the name of Justice Hill. He ran 30-40 yards for a touchdown, and I believe that might have been the game clinching touchdown, because it actually pushed the Ravens ahead 30-16 late in the fourth quarter, and the Chargers got a touchdown late with like 55 seconds left, but it only made it 30-23, and nowadays it's pretty hard to recover an onside kick. It wasn't even really close, really, and Ravens ends up winning 30-23. So with that, the Ravens end up taking over the 5 seed. Chargers moved down to 6, and well, Chargers got to get back on their saddle again, because the week before, on Sunday Night Football, Chargers gave up 27 points, even though they were leading 27-6, but then gave up 3 straight touchdowns to make it 27-27, but scored that last touchdown to make it 34-27 to beat the Bengals, who, by the way, are trying to catch up to the Chargers. And the only way that's going to happen is if Bengals win all their games, finish 9-8, and the Chargers have to lose their last 3 games and finish 8-9. So next thing, week 13, Chargers play the Chargers play another bird team, the Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta. This one, the defense for the Chargers came through. The offense, not so much. The Chargers defense was able to get 4 interceptions, and one of them was a pick 6. And that stopped the Falcons from winning the game. Chargers beat the Falcons 17-13. Kirk Cousins threw 4 interceptions, and Chargers bounced back. They actually regained the number 5 seed that week because I think the Ravens lost to either lost to the Steelers or the Eagles. So, um, so yeah. I mean, it. You can still see the fact that the Chargers offense still hasn't really found that groove yet, and also, um, um, I am a little worried because for one, Justin Herbert is not completely healthy. Two, there are some injuries on the team, especially on offense. But the fact that the game was 17-13, I'll take it. So that actually puts the Chargers at 8-4, sitting in the 5 seed at the end of week 13. Week 14 comes around because it's the big one. Chargers Sunday Night Football playing against the two-time defending Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Chargers were doing pretty well, except the moment Justin Herbert got hit. Oh, he got hit in the leg. He had a leg contusion, and Chiefs capitalized, knowing that the Chargers have to play with a backup quarterback, Tyler Heineke. And by, I believe, halftime, it was 13-0 Kansas City Chiefs. So it turns out Justin Herbert comes back. He has limited mobility, but he can still throw the ball. Then, Chargers come back and get 2 touchdowns and go ahead 14-13. Thing is, Chiefs and Mahomes come back. They kick a field goal, go up 16-14. Fourth quarter comes around, and Chargers got the ball. So here's the thing. As the Chargers were coming down the field, but their drive stalled in the area where Cameron Dicker the kicker, can actually kick a field goal. I believe there was about maybe I believe there was maybe four minutes maybe left, 4 minutes 55 seconds left in the game, and of course that gave the Chiefs some time, and of course the Chiefs were able to run the clock down. They got it down to about the 20-yard line, 19-yard line. And as they got closer and closer, got some first downs, they're milking the clock. And so they're trying to drain the clock down to the point where they just kick the field goal at the end of the game and don't give the Chargers any time. Thing is, going into this game, the Chiefs actually don't have their number one kicker, so they had to hire someone to be the starter. So they had to get a backup kicker somewhere, and they found this guy. But This guy has kicked a field, a couple extra points earlier, and he kicked a field goal earlier. So this was going to be a 37-yard field goal with basically 3 seconds left. And I believe the ball was set on the right side of the hash marks. And guess what? The Kansas City Chiefs kicker kicks the field goal and he hits the left upright. Normally, when you hit the upright, the ball doesn't go in and count for 3 points. Unfortunately, this kicker, not only did he kick and touch the the um, um, the metal post, but the field goal post that he touched, it touched the ball in the way where the ball is actually going to now be redirected into the two poles, and that counts for 3 points as a field goal. So if you heard it live, it was a loud clank, and that clank with the ball going in, it's a walk-off clank field goal. Chiefs win 19-17. I guess in a way that is another way the Chargers had chargered the game. And chargering is usually a slang term for Chargers find a way to lose. This time it was a lucky bounce and a clank. Otherwise, Chargers would have beaten the Chiefs, which I had previously predicted when the season started, but a clank proved me wrong. So now the Chargers fall to 8-5, and the Kansas City Chiefs clinched the AFC West division at the expense of the Chargers. Kind of stings. At this point, at the end of week 14, the Chargers and the Broncos are both 8-5, tied for second. But the Chargers did beat the Broncos earlier, so they have the tiebreaker for second. Then fast forward to this past Sunday. Sunday afternoon, Chargers at home playing against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are the leaders of the NFC South Division. 7-6, Chargers 8-5. Chargers were favored by 3 points. Game going to play at SoFi Stadium. And guess what? Chargers were ahead 17-10. But guess what? The Buccaneers defense was able to tackle Justin Herbert in the ankles. And Justin Herbert is again hurt, but he was able to play the rest of the game. The problem was, at 17-10 Chargers, this is where everything went south and went really bad. The Buccaneers, with Baker Mayfield, kept passing the ball to Mike Evans, kept catching these touchdown passes, and handed the ball off to Bucky. And Bucky basically ran for like 150 yards and I think got a touchdown, while Mike Evans got 2 touchdowns and caught for 150 yards or something. So instead of 17-10 Chargers, and the Chargers basically scored no more points in the game, the Buccaneers scored 30 straight points, from 17-10 losing to now 40-17 to win the game against the Chargers. That stings a lot because the Chargers have established being the number 1 defense in the league, and the Buccaneers scored 40 points. So that is now 2 games in a row. Now the Chargers are 8-6, And it turns out the Broncos actually won their game against the Colts. And now the Buccaneers, not only are they 8-6 and still atop of the NFC South Division, and are very close to clinching a playoff spot with a division title. With 3 weeks to go, has one game lead on the Falcons. And, well, the Chargers are now behind the Broncos, sitting in third place. The great thing is, for week 16, Chargers got their Sunday afternoon game bumped to Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime. So now, on Thursday night, on Amazon Prime, the Chargers are going to be hosting the Denver Broncos, and whoever wins the game will end up in second place with a tiebreaker. Right now, at 8-6, the Chargers are actually the number 7 seed after losing 2 games in a row. So, but this does give the Chargers a chance to redeem themselves. They probably match up really well with the Denver Broncos, but it would seem as of this point the Chargers have been exposed on defense, and the offense is simply not clicking and not consistent. So it led to the Chargers now as its number 7 seed. The Broncos are the 6th seed, and whoever wins this game is going to end up pretty much with the 6th seed, and the loser will fall to 7, and we'll have to try to win and clinch the 7th seed before the Colts and the Bengals try to figure out how to get to the Chargers or the Broncos. But Chargers should win this game against the Broncos. It is a quick turnaround because they just played on Sunday Night Football. But the Chargers, I think, might be close, or Broncos might be favored, but Chargers might be favored too. But should be a good game on Thursday night. Should be competitive, pretty close. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully Justin Herbert is still pretty healthy. Lad McConkey, he was hurt. He didn't play against the Chiefs, but he should be a little more healthier. He did play against the Buccaneers, but we'll see. But I really hope the Chargers figure out how to stop the floodgates, stop the bleeding on defense, because they were doing so well until the Chargers had played the Bengals, and all of a sudden realizing that your star receivers will eventually expose the Chargers defense with the help of a star quarterback. So Joe Burrow did it with Jamar Chase. Mahomes did it with Travis Kelce, Xavier Worthy, Juju Schuster, DeAndre Hopkins, and then Buccaneers did it with Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans. So I am facing the reality that, yeah, the Chargers will make the playoffs, but they're probably only just going to last maybe one round, because the way things are going, Chargers are going to probably face, as a number 7 seed, the number 2 seed, which is currently the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen, who has basically made the Bills a very hard place. So hopefully, Chargers look over the tapes, figure out how to band-aid the run defense and the secondary passing defense, and hopefully the Chargers can keep scoring down pretty low for the Broncos game and keep it low for the Patriots game, and then finish the year off with um, uh, so yeah, there's a lot to think about because for right now, Chargers, they just face the reality that this probably won't be the year anymore, but at least to make the playoffs is a good starting point in the first year of Jim Harbaugh. So we'll see what happens. I'm gonna try to catch the game on Amazon Prime. Um, find a place to watch it. Um, I guess one last thing I want to talk about is UFC 310. I believe it's 310. This is in Brooklyn, New York, and the main event was Johnny Bones Jones, your heavyweight champion, former undisputed light heavyweight champion. So Johnny Bones Jones faced off with the GOAT of heavyweights, Stipe Miocic. Fight lasted I want to say second round probably, I think it was. But it's just that um, um, anyway. Well, you can tell that Bones Jones looks a lot more, I guess, stronger. Um, I did notice that he had to roll down the top of his trunks, and it looks like he kind of had a belly, but unfortunately, Bones Jones probably got stronger. And what was the knockout blow was a spinning back kick that Bones Jones landed on the kidneys of Stipe Miocic, making him collapse to the ground in pain because he got kicked right into the kidneys, ribcage. So Johnny Bones Jones ends up retaining the heavyweight championship of the UFC. And now Johnny Bones Jones is going to start entertaining thoughts of whether he wants to fight the interim heavyweight champion Tom Aspinall or he fights the light heavyweight champion Alex Pereira. We're going to find out pretty soon. It would appear that Tom Aspinall is actually excited that the fight is very close to being made with him and Johnny Bones Jones for the undisputed heavyweight championship. Um, But he can still, Johnny Bones Jones, he can still fight Alex Pereira for a big money fight, big super fight. Um, but we'll see how long before they decide to make that fight. Um, Johnny Bones Jones did say that he's going to start talking to Dana White and Hunter and then start talking about the details and give the people what they want, which could be one or two things: Alex Pereira or Tom Aspinall. So, and then after those one or two fights, Johnny Bones Jones will retire. So, I mean, Johnny Bones Jones is the goat of MMA fighting. So, UFC, MMA, all together. So, um, the next big UFC fight is UFC. I believe it's UFC 311, and um, or is it 312? I forget. Oh, you know what? Let me go back a little bit. 309 is Bones Jones and Sleepy Miocic. 310 was actually Pantoja versus Asakura, and that was for the flyweight championship. And Pantoja defeated um, Asakura, and I believe it was by rear naked choke. That might have been the end of the first round, um, or it could have been second round. Anywho, retained the championship. Um, and of course, there was Rachmanov. He defeated Ian Machado Gary by decision. And Rachmanov is waiting for his welterweight championship match against Bilal Muhammad, who had been hurt and he couldn't do it. But they got to have the little face off in the octagon. That was the last big one. So that was 310. 311, if it's correct, it's going to be at the new Intuit Dome in Inglewood, California. It was paid for by Steve Ballmer from Microsoft. And it's going to be a big night of fights for that one. I believe they have what was it? Nurmagomedov fighting against Marab, and I think you got Sarukian versus Islam Makhachev for the lightweight championship. So fun times in January for the big fight. All right, gotta go, guys.